The film begins and introduces us to our main character, Kaska, who was a researcher. Her boyfriend was also a scientist, and both were researching bees. When her boyfriend didn't answer the phone, Kaska went to surprise him. She enters and sees that he's being intimate with someone else. This upsets her greatly, and she beats him severely. The police have to be called to stop her. She then returns home with her bees and feels very bad. Afterwards, she releases the research bees. Heartbroken, she leaves the city. We then see a businesswoman named Agatha. Agatha ran a furniture company. Despite having high sales, the company was not making a profit. To save her company, she needed a large loan. Because of this, a bank employee came to talk to her. The bank employee knew that her company was in significant trouble and was hesitant to lend her money. Agatha invites him to her office, where she shows him a special type of wood. This wood is made from special coal and is even less valuable than diamonds. Agatha had found a new source for it and had a big deal worth $15 million lined up. She was planning to sell it in Dubai.
Because of this, the bank manager agrees to give her the loan.
The only issue was that the land where Agatha found the wood did not belong to her. Half of Agatha's company also belonged to her brother, Patrick. Patrick was a daring person who often wandered around. When he didn't have money, he would borrow from people. Today, a man came to collect his debt. The man tells Patrick that he owes $10 million. Patrick is very frightened and cannot remember when he had borrowed the money. He had very little time to repay the debt. He then calls his sister, as he always does when he needs money. In the next scene, we see two friends, one named Vikas and the other named Zadris. The land Agatha was planning to buy belonged to both of them. If they didn't sell the land, Agatha wouldn't buy it. Vikas' daughter comes to them and says she wants to talk. Vika says they will talk later. She refuses and goes with Zadris' son. A little later, Agatha arrives. She also brought a city official to ensure there was no fraud or anything similar. We see that Kaska is coming to the city. The discussion about the land begins. Vikas gets up and leaves because he doesn't like Agatha. Zadris follows him and says they have to sell the land. They argue. Then Vikas' daughter arrives and says that she is pregnant. Both men become quiet. Vikas' daughter was in a relationship with Zadris' son, and they were about to marry. Vikas and Zadris calm down and decide to sell the land together. After all, arguing was pointless. As they were about to sign the documents, the city official mentioned that Zadris also had a sister who needed to sign as well. Zadris says she left everything and went away and will not come back. Just as they were about to sign, Kaska arrives. She is Zadris' sister and had come back. Zadris says she would never be coming back. Kaska responds that she has changed her mind. She takes the house keys from the counter. Agatha becomes annoyed because the deal hasn't gone through. Kaska returns to her home. When she gets a call from her boyfriend, she drops her bag, which lands on Patrick. He was on his bike and ends up having an accident. Kaska is shouting at him. Patrick tells her that no one is injured and there's no need to shout so much. He starts flirting with her and then leaves. Patrick then goes to Agatha and tells her that he needs $10 million. Agatha says he will have to give her 50% of his share. Patrick agrees. Agatha also tells him that he needs to do another job. She wants a piece of land and a girl is becoming a problem. He should have an affair with her and then get her out of the way. They were talking about Kaska. Patrick agrees. His grandmother comes to meet Kaska and is very happy to see her. They warmly welcome each other. The grandmother brings special milk for Kaska, which she likes. Zadris and Vikas watch Kaska from a distance. They think she will stay for a few days and then leave because she won't like it here. But seeing Kaska with the grandmother, they think Kaska might stay. Kaska tells the grandmother everything. The grandmother asks what Kaska's next plan is. Kaska says she will build beehives here for research, and it will be a top-class facility. The grandmother asks where she will do this. Kaska replies that she will do it at her house. The grandmother says the place will be insufficient and offers her own house. She says Kaska can build everything there. Kaska is pleased to hear this. That night, a storm hits. It's raining heavily. Kaska looks outside and sees Patrick trying to set up a tent. Kaska goes outside and tells him that this is private property and he can't set up a tent here. Patrick is struggling. She says he should stay inside, otherwise, he won't be able to survive the storm. Patrick says he has climbed many mountains and is used to such storms. Kaska warns him that there are bears here, 12 of them, and they will eat him alive. Patrick gets scared and comes inside with her. Kaska tells him he should take off his wet clothes. Patrick thinks Kaska is interested in him and takes off all his clothes. Kaska mocks him and brings him some clothes. Later, Kaska tells him to take his dirty things and leave in the morning. Patrick says he has nothing to leave with and plans to stay in the city and find a hotel for the night. Kaska tells him to go outside and fetch some wood. When Patrick goes out, he sees Vikas and Zadris stealing Kaska's beehives so she can't conduct her business. Patrick chases them away, but during the commotion, Kaska's beehives are damaged. When she sees this, she becomes very angry and throws Patrick out. He sees a big coat on the street and injures Patrick before taking him to the hospital. The hospital doctor flirts with Patrick, and Patrick realizes this and quickly leaves. We see a man looking for him to collect money. Vikas and Zadris are trying to figure out how Kaska will leave the city. They come up with an idea that if she falls in love with a man who then betrays her, she will run away. They start looking for such a man and interview various candidates, but none of them are suitable. Kaska had already rejected several local men. Patrick finds out about this and goes to them, offering to do the job and making a deal. He asks for all the information about Kaska. Zadris initially opposes, but Vikas agrees. They all make a plan together. The next day, Kaska is searching for wood for her beehives. Her roof is leaking, so she needs wood for that as well. She goes to various places, but no one helps her, as they have already sold all their wood. Vikas and Zadris had bought the wood to prevent Kaska from getting any help. When Kaska returns home, Patrick brings beehives for her. Kaska is pleased and asks Patrick where he found all the wood. Patrick says he can do anything and claims to be a good carpenter. Kaska is impressed, but still doesn't like him much. Patrick fixes her roof but ends up falling. Kaska helps him to the bed. Patrick thinks Kaska is showing interest in him and pretends to be injured. Kaska notices this and calls her grandmother. They both pretend to care for him, but end up hitting him with a broom. Patrick runs away. Patrick's sister is also pressuring him, saying he doesn't have much time and needs to finish the job quickly. Patrick is near a river and sees the same coat again. He gets attacked once more and goes to see a doctor. The doctor treats him, but then the man looking for Patrick to collect money arrives. Patrick escapes through the back door, and the poor doctor is once again left disappointed. The doctor makes Patrick sit there. In the next scene, Patrick meets with Vikas and Zadris. He says he's having a problem, but will take the job slowly. They discuss how Patrick got close to Kaska. In the following scene, we see them making alcohol at Kaska's grandmother's house. The grandmother made very strong alcohol, which was illegal. They all talk together. The doctor mentions that Patrick came to see him. Kaska feels there was something between the doctor and Patrick and becomes a bit annoyed. She says she doesn't want to date anyone now. The doctor tells her that Patrick went to another man while he was away and was a genuine person. Kaska then realizes that nothing happened between the doctor and Patrick. Soon after, Patrick arrives with city officials. If they come in, Kaska's grandmother could end up in jail for making illegal alcohol. So they let Patrick stay outside. Kaska has no choice but to agree and says Patrick can stay with her. This was all part of Patrick's plan. Patrick comes to Kaska's house and says she has to let him stay now. Kaska says she won't allow him to stay without working. Patrick asks her what kind of business she wants to do there. Kaska provides him with all the information and then asks him to cut wood. Patrick doesn't know much about it, and Kaska laughs. As soon as Kaska leaves, Vikas and Zadris arrive with their men and quickly cut all the wood. When Kaska returns, she's impressed by how much wood Patrick has managed to cut. Patrick then shows off his progress. While staying inside, he even cooks a little food. Kaska likes this. At night, Patrick stands outside her door with alcohol, but then changes his mind about knocking. Patrick later notices this. He sees Kaska changing clothes through her room door, but doesn't knock either. The next day, Patrick builds a fence for Kaska. Kaska is going to get bees from the mountain and asks Patrick to come with her. The mountain is huge, and climbing it is a bit difficult for Patrick. Kaska comments on how adventurous he is and says he shouldn't have so much trouble. When they reach the top and see the beautiful view, they bring the bees down. While bringing the bees down, Kaska falls on Patrick and they come close. Patrick says that mountain girls believe a first kiss can tell everything about a relationship. Kaska moves a bit closer but then pushes him away, saying he should go to the mountain girls. When Patrick comes back, he sees the coat again and enjoys it. This time, Patrick goes to Kaska's grandmother, who is doting on him. Patrick tells her that he likes Kaska and is trying to talk to her, to let her know what's in his heart. But Kaska doesn't listen. The grandmother says Kaska is a very extraordinary girl, and that to win her over, Patrick will have to do something different. To this end, Patrick plans with Vikas and Zadris. Their town has a competition involving cutting wood. All participants work together to cut large pieces of wood, and the first to finish wins. People often get injured in this competition. Patrick decides to take part, and Kaska is shocked when she sees him. She goes to stop him, saying, "Don't do it. You will get hurt. You will never win." Patrick says, "If I win, come have coffee with me." Kaska says, "Don't say anything." Patrick says, "If I don't win, you can bet on me." After this, the competition begins. We can see that Vikas and Jadras were giving money to the participants in the competition. That means he loses and Patrick wins. There was only one man who did not take money from them because he wanted to win. There is a real battle between Patrick and that man, and in the end, Patrick wins. A piece of wood from the other man was about to fall on someone, but Patrick saves them too. Kaska gets angry with Patrick and leaves. Grandma tells Patrick, "I didn't ask you to do that. You shouldn't play with someone's feelings." At night, Kaska doesn't let him into the house. Kaska receives a call from the parcel office, and her bees have arrived there. The bees had been lying there for 2 days. She has to go and get them quickly, otherwise, they will die. She then tells Patrick, "We need to leave quickly." They reach there fast, but they are a bit late, and the office is closed. There was a woman closing the office. Patrick quickly talks to her and, due to his kindness, persuades her to reopen the office. After a while, Patrick returns with Kaska's parcel. Kaska is very happy to see this. She hugs Patrick. She becomes intimate with him when they return home. Patrick feels that doing this is wrong. He says, "I have to tell you something." Kaska says, "Don't say anything now," and becomes intimate with him again. The next morning, Patrick leaves. He goes to Vikas and Jadras and tells them the truth, that he was working for his sister. Patrick's phone was at home and there was a call from Agatha on it. Because of this call, Kaska realizes that Patrick was doing all of this on his sister's orders. She becomes very angry. At the same time, Vikas and Jadras are also very angry. They are fighting when Kaska arrives there. Kaska says, "How much money did you take to do this to me?" She confronts him and leaves in tears, saying, "There is nothing left for me in this town." She is about to leave the town forever. The town officials hear this. They ask if Kaska is leaving, what will happen to the treasure on her land? They didn't know anything about the treasure. Only Agatha knew that the wood from there was equivalent to treasure. Then everything is revealed in front of the town officials about what was really going on. Now everyone plans to take full control of the wood. Kaska's grandmother was also present there. Patrick apologizes to them. He says that all these thugs and monsters were set up by his sister so that she could complete her work. He was also against his sister. He apologizes for all the bad things done to Kaska. And in reality, he had started loving Kaska. He didn't want to deceive her. In parallel, we see that the doctor and the thug following Patrick were also having an affair. He confronts him. The thug then goes to Agatha and says that the work is about to be finished. Then we see that they all meet with Agatha. Eventually, they tell her that they are going to sell the land. Patrick then sells 50% of the shares to Agatha and takes the money. He invests this money in building Kaska's beehive. Jadras apologizes to Kaska, and they become a family again. In the next scene, we see that Jadra's son and Vika's daughter get married. Kaska finds out that Patrick did all this for her. He then comes to her and says, "I have no place left to stay in this town." "Do you know of any place?" Kaska says, "Are you going to stay here for a few days? Or do you have plans to stay longer?" Patrick says, "I want to stay with you forever." Kaska then forgives him. They kiss each other, and now they are together. In the end, the movie ends with them dancing. If you like this explanation, please like and comment. I bring explanations for many movies, so please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to press the bell notification icon. We will meet again with more interesting videos. Thank you for watching and take care.